For more than a decade, Nicolás Maduro sat at the center of power in Venezuela. He survived sanctions, mass protests, economic collapse, and years of international pressure. His regime was isolated, unpopular, and widely criticized. But it endured. And for a long time, removal seemed impossible. Not because the system was strong, but because there were limits on what other countries were willing to do. Then, in January 2026, those limits broke. Maduro was captured by the United States and removed from the country. The change was immediate, which raises two questions that matter far more than the headlines. How did something like this become possible? And was it even legal? The capture happened quietly inside a secured government compound in Caracas. The building was sealed, corridors cleared, movement restricted to a few controlled paths. Maduro was separated from his inner circle and escorted through interior hallways under guard. There was no confrontation, no exchange of fire. Guards stepped aside, not because they were overpowered, but because no order came to stop it. Within hours, Maduro, along with his wife, Celia Flores, was removed from the compound and flown out of the country. By the time the news broke, the outcome was already final. The palace didn't fall. It emptied. Power didn't collapse in public. It vanished quietly. And that tells us something important. This didn't start that day. It started when protection stopped being guaranteed. From the US perspective, this was no longer a political dispute. It was a criminal one. For years, American prosecutors accused Maduro and senior figures around him of running a narco-trafficking network tied to cocaine shipments bound for the United States. These weren't statements, they were indictments. Once a leader is treated not as a sovereign official, but as the head of a transnational criminal operation, the rules change. This is no longer about regime change, it's about arrest. But indictments alone don't remove a leader. What changed was access and protection. Maduro's legitimacy had already been challenged. After Venezuela's disputed 2018 election, opposition parties were blocked and state institutions remained under regime control. In 2019, the National Assembly declared Juan Guaidó the country's legitimate interim president. The United States, and many allies, recognized him instead of Maduro. From that point on, Maduro wasn't just accused of crimes. He was treated as illegitimate. And a leader who is both indicted and illegitimate has far less protection than one with either label alone. Inside the country, military unity fractured. Senior figures stopped guaranteeing protection. Others simply stopped intervening. International tolerance dropped. Isolation increased. The calculation flipped. Leaving Maduro in place began to look more dangerous than removing him. And once that calculation changes, enforcement replaces diplomacy. So was it legal? Under normal international law, no. Capturing a sitting leader inside another country violates state sovereignty. But the US argument was different. Maduro was treated not as a protected head of state, but as an indicted criminal accused of transnational crimes targeting the United States. That doesn't make it universally legal. It makes it legally arguable. And that's enough for power to move. What comes next is no longer political. It's judicial. Maduro and Flores now face U.S. federal charges tied to narco-terrorism and large-scale drug trafficking conspiracies. This isn't negotiation, it's removal from the game. Inside Venezuela, the question immediately shifted from removal to replacement. Whether international recognition becomes real authority now depends on what happens next. Inside institutions, inside the military, and on the streets. But this moment was never just about leadership. Venezuela holds the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, along with vast gold and mineral wealth. For years, that power sat frozen, locked behind sanctions, collapse, and a regime no one could work with. As long as Maduro remained, nothing moved. Once he didn't, everything became negotiable. This wasn't about seizing resources overnight. It was about removing a permanent obstacle,